It's like the, oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out. Yeah, that's okay. I think anyone can join the live, but they might get an ad at some point if they don't sub. All right. So, are you posting something now? Sure. Okay. Ube, you there? You lurking? Hello, someone's here. Can they comment, or do they have to? Hey, how hot is it? It's gonna be near 100 here in Las Vegas already. So, Sharice there, my co-host. I'm gonna call you my co-host. We need her to be here. I mean, yeah, I guess I could talk to myself, but she's here. She's the mod. We have a few mods in here, and we're gonna talk today about Ayurveda and how to stay cool. Your co-host has no audio. Oh, what? No, that's not intentional. I want you to hear her. So I am going to. Okay, thanks, Ube. Ha. Let's do this.
I just realized like I'm not echoing in my own ear because I turned it down so much. Thank you. Okay, great. Okay, only 13 minutes in. There we go. Hear me? Yeah. Look, I mean, I think it's fine because I mean, at the end of the day, you're getting extra time in. People are on here all day. I saw Soldier Boy is doing a 24-hour stream today, and I got on, and he's not even in the camera. Soldier Boy. Yes, Soldier Boy. Love Ah, I figured you would. I'm not surprised that he's all, on here too, of course. But yeah. Okay,
There you
yeah.
go.
Don't
I put it on both now. So my voice that goes through Zoom doesn't go to s- my OBS. Hi, Ube. Check, check. Mic check.
we can hear you. Now I haven't talked yet, so
Mic check. I
okay,
have to
there
have
we
them
go.
both on.
That's
Oh,
good.
all right. No problem. So if we're ready, we're gonna talk about the heat wave. I guess I'll just talk about the heat wave while you're trying to get folks in here. I'm not in LA, but my co-host is Sharice. I'm Dr. Medine. Everyone knows Masako. I should change my name.
Probably have to do intros again.
Yeah, I probably should do intros for a while.
Yeah.
Meeting info. How I change my name? Hmm, good question. Blah, 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 blah. And a Zoom meeting. Settings. Settings. My I'm gonna turn the starting soon back on. If you don't look at my settings. Uh, Not that anyone's here, but just in case. My where is it? Edit my profile. Yeah. Hmm. Okay, there we go. There we go. Save. Might as well do all the things at the beginning. Ta-da. Close all tabs. Maybe. Should I? I'm gonna try it. Hope this doesn't break anything. Haha. There. All right. Well, so what's going on in LA? What, you want to talk about the heat wave? We're like a morning show now. You want to talk
I
about the
know,
heat?
right? Wednesday morning show.
Yeah.
Wednesday wellness. Um, what's nice out today? Mid city, I mean, it's what? We're not as hot as Vegas. It's only
Mm.
70s right now. So
70s. You
it's
what's it gonna
71.
get up to?
84 today.
84.
It's
Okay.
like 89. I mean, it fluctuates. Like it'll probably be mid to high 80s. But for central LA, that's still pretty. I know it sounds like crazy, but that's like pretty warm. So that means it'll probably be close to like mid 90s in the valley.
Oh, that's like Vegas. So our high today is
Mhm.
97, tomorrow's 99. It's gonna be 90s for as far as we can see. Man, and it's only gonna get hotter from here, I think. So according to Ayurveda, I just moved here recently, within the past 9 months or so. And my body's probably not used to this. Had to get used to the dryness that was here. I learned to put lotion on. I learned to put a humidifier on. Like the place I I'm s- this place I am babysitting at right now, they do not put a humidifier on, and I get shocked all the time. Like, uh-oh, I gotta sneeze. Yeah. So I get shocked all the time at their house, but I don't get shocked all the time at my house. Their house is significantly drier because they don't have humidifiers on. So that's one thing I have to get used to. But the sudden heat, where it went from goes down to maybe 60s or even 50s at night, and it started creeping up into the 90s. Even as soon as like a couple of weeks ago, it was like 90 something. A lot of people were that live here tell me like you're not gonna get a middle season, you're just gonna get really cold and then really hot, which makes sense because it's the desert. So the desert is I think defined as low rainfall, right? So dryness basically without the water. It's dry, and the dosha that we associate with dryness is vata. And the diseases that we associate with vata is constipation and pain. Sharp stabbing pain and pain that moves around. Okay, so vata is made up of the space and the air element, but air is different than wind, but vata is movement. So when air moves through space, we call it wind. And wind is the element that dries. So you'll notice I'm always drinking something. How I've changed since moving from LA is I track my water daily. Before I used to just kind of pour myself like 32 ounces or whatever and drink it. But in Vegas, I have to track my water. So that's one thing that changes when you move. Your body has to adjust. Um, my body has not adjusted yet, so I really feel the heat. Other folks that have been here for a while, they celebrate this 90 something degree weather. They're like, "Yay, I love the sun." And like,
I have to
I
love
mean,
it
I do
too.
too.
You have to love the heat being out there.
Uh, well, ironically enough, because I have solar here, um, I can run the air conditioner all day, and the bill's like fairly, under $100. If I ran the air conditioner all day in Los Angeles, it'd be like $300. In Hawaii, my uncle runs the air conditioner all day, and it's almost close to $1,000. So like, I'd have to stay inside, and the other thing that we have a lot of, and where I live close to, are casinos. And casinos are a great place to, if you need to walk around, like the mall. You can walk around. They pump it with oxygen, to keep you gambling. And so I get oxygen, I get air conditioned. So
I mean,
the
I make
infrastructure is easier to handle, I think, than in LA. Um, I have air conditioning in my room, but no solar. So it's actually cheaper for me to stay in Las Vegas during the summer because of the solar. And there's no clouds. Like California is similar, right? But in Hawaii, my house has solar in Hawaii, or my mom's house, I should say. And and I mean it's cloudy a lot of the time, so they do get the benefit of the sun, but Hawaii's got a lot of clouds. Vegas, not so much. Los Angeles, not so much, except for that June gloom. June gloom in Los Angeles is like it'll stay cloudy all the way till it'll burn off like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 12
hmm
o'clock, 11 o'clock, something like that. So even if Vegas is like really hot, it's dry. So what you can do is you can like jump in a pool. Every hotel has a pool. Um, you could just make your own little doughboy pool outside, like buy one of those pools from CVS or something. And if you notice, if you ever come to the desert and you drench yourself in a pool and then stand up, it's freezing because of the dryness. So we're talking about vata. You will understand, just have the experience, just experience nature and try these things. Like just notice after you get out of the pool in Vegas, it's a lot colder than if you get out of the water in Hawaii. Right? You go in the ocean, you come out, and it's kind of cold, but the air's not dry. So it's cold, but you complain. But when you switch to like a desert environment, I know my buddy had a house in Hemet, California, which is like closer to Vegas, and it's very dry, like Palm Springs kind of dry. And I went in his pool, got out of his pool, and I didn't know what to do. Like I didn't know what to do to warm up because the sun was out, it was hot, but your body's wet and the heat is like ripping off your body at an unprecedented rate for me because I wasn't used to it. Unprecedented rate means like you're not used to it. It was ripping off my body at an unprecedented rate that I wasn't used to. See, in Ayurveda, you have to get used to things slowly, but Vata doesn't care. The wind is the scariest element to me. Like Vata is the scariest element to me, or the power of wind, because of the rapidity, like how fast things change. It's not the fact that things change, which is a problem. It is how fast and how strongly things change, which becomes a problem because you can't adapt. So if you can't adapt to that like heat change, you can get used to that by living in the desert for a while, but I'm not used to it yet. I've from Hawaii originally, got used to California. California became quite nice. It is drier than Hawaii, and I did notice that. I was like, "Oh, it's dry here." When I moved to California, I complained. Like, it's so dry here. My lips were cracking. I was like, "What's going on? We're next to the ocean." So I've always tried to notice nature my whole life, and I was like, "We're next to the ocean, but what?" You get these things called Santa Ana winds, and I've never
Mhm.
heard of these things before. I think we call it Kona Kona winds, where it comes from the south, from the volcano area. It's similar, but when California gets the winds from the desert, from where I am now, it feels so you get a taste of what it's like to live here, right? Which can make you averse to living in Vegas, but you can acclimate. So the emphasis I put on Ayurveda is small changes. S- Just let your body acclimate. You know, you're not separate from nature. When you bring a plant from here to there, you got to let it acclimate. When you bring a person from here to there, you got to let it acclimate. So if you're on a vacation in Vegas, which a lot of folks are, you can't judge whether or not you could live here by your vacation. You got to be here a
Mm.
bit. I would come
I
back and
remember,
forth to Vegas a lot. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I remember the first time that I went, right, it was right before I moved out here, and we were not prepared for that
From
at all.
let our
I was
audience
coming
know from where.
from DC,
Okay.
so coming to Vegas for the winter, it was like it was great during the day, and then you realize like one how cold it gets at night, and none of us, well, my one friend that is from California was even the least bit prepared for that. The rest of us didn't have real jackets, like no like real in between. It was a lot. So yeah, it was interesting getting a taste of that. And then I came to LA to visit right after New Year's, and we had like, well, because I wasn't living here, but there were a few like 80-degree like perfect days, and I was like, oh, I could really live here. And then literally the day I moved down, it was raining.
To LA?
Oh yeah.
You caught LA rain? Wow, that's rare.
Yeah, because I moved in March, so it was only a handful of rainy days when I first moved, because we were like really heavy in that drought at that time. It was
Hmm.
2012. So yeah, is interesting because I really got sucked in by, I mean, of course there's great weather here, and it can be very, up and down, and it's nice during the winter, a lot better than the East Coast most of the time, but I was definitely very fooled by the weather,
Yep, yep.
especially those like crazy temperature drops from day to night.
Oh, in Vegas.
Well, both
Oh,
because listen, but
LA.
seeing that in Vegas first
Oh,
was.
so DC is more stable.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like the East Coast, like in general, has the humidity is a lot higher, so it might drop.
Why is that? Why is that? I mean, California's on the coast.
Right.
I noticed like the Florida, that water, everyone thinks Hawaii, okay, so everyone thinks Hawaii has like warm oceans. They don't. It's so cold. We get we get the Arctic, we get some water from Alaska, and great whites will only live in really cold water, and we get great whites in Hawaii, which tells you how cold the water is. When I
Mm.
went, as a Hawaiian, I went to Florida. As a Hawaii girl, I went to Florida, and that's what I expected the water to be like in Hawaii, even as a native. As a
Hmm.
native, because I grew up watching game shows. Remember like Wheel of Fortune? Anyone remember Wheel of Fortune? It's huge in the islands because our
So funny.
newscaster and I think his name is Pat Sajak, they were friends from the military. So Hawaii
Oh,
folks,
really?
yeah, so Hawaii folks and Wheel of Fortune have this connection. But they would always give game shows back then, like Jeopardy, and Wheel of Fortune, and all these game shows, Price is Right. I grew up on those shows, and they would always give trips to Hawaii. They would always market it as like this tropical place where the water is warm. So I thought the water was going to be warm. Even if I'm from there, it fooled me every time. I'm like, when is this water going to be warm?
That's good marketing.
It was good marketing. I
It's
mean,
good marketing if it has you fooled and you're from there.
unless I'm really naive, I'm like, I mean, it was never true. So I finally, when I was like in my late teens, I went to Florida and I was like, this is what I expect Hawaii water to be like. I would not recommend you come to Hawaii. You need to go to Florida. And I wanted to go to Florida because it's more stable.
Hmm.
Um, I know when it's hot, it's really hot, and it was like muggy, and we had thunderstorms. But that's what I thought the tropics were gonna be like. Maybe the Philippines are like that, but Hawaii gets Arctic waters. Do not expect the water to be warm.
Crazy to me. It's like, is there anywhere in the Pacific where the water is warm? Or is it just that the
Yeah,
Pacific
the
is just like
South Pacific,
massive? Oh, well, that makes sense.
the South Pacific, like Samoa, Tonga, Tahiti, Easter Island, maybe
Yeah.
Philippines, like the Southeast Asia. And I'm not speaking from experience. I'm just speaking from people I know who are from there. Like we have a lot of Filipinos in Hawaii.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, their water is supposedly really warm in the Pacific. But you know the story about the Pacific, right? Like why it was named the Pacific.
No, I've never heard
Oh,
this.
oh. So the word Pacific means like calm waters. So during the time where there was like, around the world in 80 days kind of race, I
Mm.
think, like, I don't quote me, but I think like around Christopher Columbus's time where the Spain and all, they were giving a lot of money to discovering the world.
Hmm.
Um, I think they went around the tip of South America, right? And they came across the choppiest waters ever. And to throw each other off, they named it the opposite of what it is. The
Oh,
Pacific is ruthless.
that makes sense.
Like Greenland and Iceland were named that in a similar way when they didn't want
Hmm.
anyone to go, so they named the green one Iceland and the icy one Greenland to yeah, to as a decoy. So the name Pacific Ocean is a decoy. They should name it like, I don't know, torrential or troubled waters or something like that. They should name it choppy waters.
I mean, that does, I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, during that time, the
Yeah, it makes so much
imperialist.
more sense why they cross the Atlantic probably more often.
Oh, heck yeah. You do not want to cross the Pacific.
Hmm.
One of my this guy I know sails from the California coast to Hawaii. It's like, ooh, that is choppy. How do you not throw up? I guess they just get their sea legs, which I never developed, even going over and over and over. I mean, that's why our waves are so, they talk about North Shore and the biggest waves in in the world. They surf that. It's called the Eddie Aikau, the surf competition on the island I'm from. But yeah, I grew up with very strong waters. So anyway, the point is that you have to acclimate. So how do we beat this heat wave? In Ayurveda, we talk about knowing yourself, and part of knowing yourself is your acclimation. Like, am I new to California? I think it took my body probably 3 to 5 years to acclimate to California. I was like, this is so dry. But now I'm in Las Vegas. I'm like, this is so dry. And please don't tell
Hmm.
me there's a place drier than here because,
I couldn't imagine.
oh, I can't even.
Oh
Me neither. Like,
gosh.
you get shocked all the time with that static electricity. But people acclimate. Like, there are folks that are from here that um they look just fine. Their lips are not cracking. My lips had finally stopped cracking.
Mm, hmm.
The hydration is very real.
Hmm.
That electrolytes are it's a very real thing. It's I have to put on um hydration products. They sell a lot of that here because then your skin not for just for vanity purposes, but your skin will get dry and crack like a dry ground.
Hmm.
And your internal skin as well will dry and crack. I got bloody noses here. I still get bloody noses here a little bit when I blow out whatever is in my nose. My mucous membranes are dry, and it's a regular thing to have like blood on my Kleenex in the morning. Can't wait to get over that. I think I should probably swipe some sesame oil in my nose. Who was I saying that to? Someone's like, yeah, when they were traveling from when they travel from Europe. Well,
Oh.
anyway, yeah, because the airplane is cold and dry. Who
Hmm.
cares about cold? It's
Yeah, that's when I
dry.
get sick. Hmm.
Yeah. So one of the things that I used to tell folks, which I should tell them again, is to swipe some sesame oil in your nose. I'm not sure about coconut oil. Sesame oil is more warming. Coconut oil is cooling, but according to culture, I think some folks get really offended by the smell of sesame oil because they're just not acclimated to it. That
Hmm.
whole thing where I grew up with sesame oil can have validity because you're used to it. So anything that's like really strong and sudden is typically not well received unless you're super, super bored and kapha, which is the grounding water and soil element. Very heavy, very stagnant, uh, grounded. So if you're from Hawaii, um, there's not a lot of space, so there's not a lot of development. We're surrounded by water. It's humid. I would argue Florida is more humid for some reason, and we're gonna have to talk about that because I don't get it yet. Maybe the wind. Maybe they lack wind. I don't know. They have swamp. I don't know. Their water does. I don't know. We have to talk. I wanna think about it. But um. Oh no, I lost my train of thought. Like Hawaii is. Help me.
Oh, sorry, I'm like catching up.
Okay, no problem.
No, I'm like putting back to see. Are you talking about the swamps in Florida? Okay,
No, before that, Hawaii is
you're talking about it being tropic, or what?
mhm.
Where were we going?
Oh, the change, the
Oh, the change with flying back and forth.
yeah, flying back and forth, the sudden changes. So if
Hmm.
you're on the airplane, the air conditioner's on all the time, right? There's
Yeah,
wind
and then
all the
there's
time.
recycled air.
It's
This
like
being on a
hot.
plane always messes with my sinuses. Like if I don't take like oregano oil or just do something like even I have to if I take airborne beforehand or just like, make sure I'm doing like echinacea or extra vitamin C. Like I always it's always too many germs. Like I was so glad when we started wearing masks. Like
Mm,
I'm forever gonna wear a mask on an airplane.
yeah.
If nothing else, always on an airplane because that's too long to be sharing air with people.
Yeah, I understand. And
And elevation, it's colder.
yes, it is. May I,
Always, I'm always freezing on a plane.
may I introduce another variable when you wear a mask? It may
Hmm.
not be germ theory. It may be humidity that you keep in your mask.
That's true.
And I do that too in the winters in California. I wear a mask
Yeah.
just to keep my sinuses warm.
Hmm. Yeah, that's definitely been a benefit that I didn't, name
Hmm.
words to in my head, but
Hmm.
like, yeah, it's definitely an added benefit for me. But especially being out here, it's just, it's already a lot drier. I
Hmm.
think I've adjusted a lot, but I think I'll just start adding the sesame oil because now that you say that, like I'm realizing like I'll just use like Vaseline
Oh, that
just
works
because
too.
a lot of times
I
I don't
think
think about it and that's just what I have.
I think that works
But
too.
staying moisturized.
And I think that's just because it's oil, like that oil, that kind of oil. Um, I would say because I don't know. I don't know the temperature of Vaseline. I don't know. I'd imagine it was warming from my memory. Yeah, we used to use that before Carmex, this thing called Carmex came out.
Hmm.
When we would go on the airplane, my mom would put it on our lips. So imagine year after year, every spring break I would go on an airplane.
Hmm.
And every year it would my lips would crack. You
Hmm.
would think I would acclimate, but it's not like that. Because I go back to Hawaii and I go back to like I would travel to the West Coast, come back, go back and forth. You would think I would acclimate, but it didn't acclimate. It only acclimates if you stay there for some time. And for me, maybe we can ask folks who have moved, how long did it take you to acclimate? For me, it was years in California to get used to it. Now from Vegas to California, when I drive back, California feels so humid. But when I fly
But
back to
it's just a
Hawaii,
little more humid
it's so
lately.
heavy. Like the water content in the air makes me feel so heavy. But I grew up like that.
Right. It's like that's really interesting to be used to much more humidity than this, and you still feel the difference.
You can feel it. You can feel the heaviness in the air. So, hmm, people from like Florida. Okay, why is Florida so humid and not
Surrounded by
and Hawaii? Not Hawaii?
that's
Why is
you
why
so you
does
think
Florida
Florida
feel
is more
hotter than
humid?
Hawaii? What?
Right. Hmm. Well, I mean, definitely, it probably reaches a lot farther south. No? Let's see. Now I gotta look at a
You
map. Anything
think because the
talking about
Pacific
this?
Ocean is colder than the Atlantic Ocean?
Hmm. Maybe. I definitely think, yeah, the water temperature has a lot. That's probably why. Oh my gosh, that makes so much sense because all this time, remember how I was asking, like, just talking about why it feels colder, like even when it's hot, like the
Where?
here in LA. Um, so like one thing I noticed, like when I let clothes out to dry, like they have to be in the sun. If it's just outside, even if it's hot, no matter how hot it is, they don't dry very quickly if it's not in the sun. And I've been wondering that, like, what is it about this air? But the the increase in humidity here and the fact that we're surrounded by cold water,
Cold water. Yep. I think we figured it
magnetic.
out.
So even when, like, if you're not in the sun, it doesn't feel as hot as it actually is.
Yep, I
But
think we figured it
Florida
out.
is surrounded by warm water.
Yep.
There's the Gulf probably is a lot warmer than the ocean because it's a smaller
Ooh.
body, completely surrounded by water
Uh,
and the humidity. So it's probably the water temperature that makes the biggest difference.
Yay. We did it. That bugged me.
I've been trying to also figure out for the longest, like, why do my clothes just not dry well here? And
Does it dry well in DC?
I didn't really air dry a lot of stuff. I just remember like growing up, my grandmother, my dad's family is like from outside of Chicago. And she would always like air dry clothes. But I feel like
Chicago is
that's
windy.
right. Right. So the wind probably made a difference there.
Uh-huh.
But
And
again,
so is
like we have the
Hawaii.
clothesline and everything was in the sun. But if she hung clothes out, they'd be dry in like an hour or two.
I
Here,
think
like
that
I live
is what people think. I think people think heat is what dries, but it's
right,
wind.
right. But here it's not
Not
windy, windy,
windy.
not as windy as it is there, but
Not Chicago, not like Chicago.
right.
Wind dries, heat like vibrates the molecules, right? So that's movement. That's still vata. That's why people think heat dries is because it vibrates the molecules. It helps dry faster,
Hmm.
but it's wind, it's movement that dries. And if your air is humid, then like Hawaii, when we used to go swimming and like camping, we would take our swimsuits off, hang it outside to dry, and there's no by the next morning you're putting on a wet, cold swimsuit because it doesn't dry even overnight. You gotta, no one figured out you gotta bring two swimsuits. Well, maybe no one had enough money to buy two swimsuits. But we would just like then swim in our t-shirts and shorts, and then that took longer because that's cotton to dry, even in the sun. I kid you not, like you have that I left it in the washer smell every once in a while. You gotta put it in a dryer in Hawaii. It's not gonna dry. I'm excited to hang my clothes out in Las Vegas
Hmm.
and actually have something dry. It's kind of sometimes I'll put my clothes if I'm camping and I will squish it in the window and drive with it just from this knowledge, just because I know wind dries.
Right, that's definitely gonna help.
It works great,
Hmm.
except the side that's
I mean,
inside the
even when
car.
you say that, like thinking about the dryer in itself, like an actual dryer, it's the movement, like it's the air because it doesn't matter what setting it's on. You can have it cool air, hot air, but it's that movement.
hmm Just the wind, it blows. It's like a hair dryer
Hmm.
in this space. Um, Heat certainly makes it faster because of the molecules moving.
Hmm.
But so I think we did it. Yay. So that's what you want to do to keep cool is you want to evaporate, you want to evaporate
Mm.
humidity off your body. So if you're in a humid place already, wind totally helps. I forget what kind of cooler that's called, but if you're in a humid place, dryness helps to take the heat off your body. So does urination. So we would use something like barley tea,
Mm.
mugicha, mugicha, mugicha is Japanese, and Japan is an island, and it's very, very humid. I hear it's miserable in the summer. I
Mm.
yeah, no,
Have you
everyone told
been?
me avoid the summer in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a lot of Japanese friends, acquaintances, and
Mm-hmm.
because of my interest in health, I ask them like, what is your strategy? So they drink barley tea. Barley is one of those things that when you drink, it drains the water out of your body. So you're adding water and you're draining water. You're adding water and you're draining water. Another Japanese lady told me to put a little lemon in my water. And then Japanese diet is salty by nature. They have a lot of soy sauce. They eat miso soup every morning, probably. Well, for some families, every morning. Like we eat eggs and toast, they eat miso soup. They have miso soup in the morning with tofu. And that's salty. So they pretty much created Gatorade, right? Because Gatorade is a sugary drink with salt and sour in it. Japanese people typically will have rice, and there's your sugar. Sugar doesn't have to be from sugar cane or sugar beets. It can be any
Mm-hmm.
kind of starch. So little rice, little miso soup. There's your sweet, your salty.
Mm-hmm.
And this woman told me to put lemon in my water. She used to hike, this old Japanese lady used to hike a lot. I was like, wow, you hike in really hot weather. She said, put lemon in your water. So that was her fix, I guess, because she already had the electrolytes from her miso soup. But I would recommend like just put a pinch of Himalayan pink salt. If you don't have that
Mm-hmm.
habit of having something salty, and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
folks don't, put a little Himalayan pink salt, squeeze of lemon, some sugar if you like, some real sugar if you're going to go hiking, some monk fruit
Mm-hmm.
or toast, whatever, something for your carbs, and then barley tea. You cannot
Mm-hmm.
lose your salts, you can have more salt. I think that Japanese people in Japan can have more salt because they sweat it out all the time.
Oh,
So yeah, so
interesting.
even when you're in the gym all the time and you're sweating, um,
Mm-hmm.
you can handle more salt. Even in my toxic weight be gone diet, when you're sort of like eating low calorie but like low sugar, right? You'll pee more, you'll get rid of a lot more water, and you'll get rid of more salt because you're peeing more.
Mm-hmm.
And you can take like during that time when I was working with this invention. I have a lot of inventions. Maybe we can have like a herb herb time where we discuss herbs or
Yeah,
whatever and
should definitely
how that
do
works. Yeah.
that.
If people like want to. I mean, you want to, so we can do it. So,
That would be interesting to see all the things that you've created.
yeah, and how they work
Mm-hmm.
and why you have to eat more salt at that time. But as soon as you're off of that protocol, you must stop having so much salt. So I think what happens to native Japanese people when they come to California, they get high blood pressure. Like my patients from Japan will all get will all get high blood pressure here. And when I start touching culture and I start saying, well, miso soup is high in sodium, they have to have time to adjust. They've been in California. Um, they've only known miso soup their whole life, and you try to tell like an elderly Japanese person not to have miso soup, you're gonna like lose all your credibility because everyone does that in Japan. But when I figured this out, I said, well, you're in California now. The salt you lose in Japan because you sweat like crazy. Probably Florida is similar because I've been to Florida. Uh, but you'll lose all this salt and you can handle more salt. So imagine like the recommended daily allowance for salt. Like, where did those people live? Where did they do that experiment? It's called a confounding variable, a variable that no one thought would be a variable. So maybe that research is like not valid where you're from, right? They say, oh, they like demonize all the salt in the Japanese diet, but they need it because they lose a lot of salt. So you have in Ayurveda, you have to pay attention to your environment. It makes a big difference, right? Between having like the recommended daily allowance and now your blood pressure drops dangerously low, because I've seen people do that too, is that they say, okay, I'll just do the recommended daily allowance, and they get different kinds of sick. The heart needs salt. Like they start having like heart palpitations, you know? So en- you have to empower. You have to. It's not a choice. Empower people to think for themselves, to educate them in a holistic science where they're in tune with nature. It's not a hippy dippy like it's not like a dramatic feeling about nature. Like I'm not just a tree hugger, although I love nature. It's not this sort of how you say, what do we call it? Where you're just overly emotional about it. It makes a difference whether or not you're going to have heart problems. If you're going to go down the path of like harsh medications to keep you in balance, when nature already offers this balance, if you would just pay attention and get educated. So that's kind of our mission, isn't it? To make sure this knowledge gets out. There's no amount of, as we sorely are finding out, there's no amount of medication, no amount of research that can be done that will last if it's not based in nature. If you don't consider the entirety of the person's existence, including
Mhm.
their environment, and I do not see that in research papers. It's eluding, that variable eludes the researchers, right? So where are you going to get research? You're going to get it in California. You're going to get it on the East Coast. You're going to get it in Europe. You're going to get it in India. The main medical research papers that I read are from Asia, from from Asia. So India, East Asia and West Asia, like India all the way to China, Taiwan.
Sorry, it's so funny. I've never heard it said as West Asia,
I
but
mean
of
neither,
course
but it,
it's usually like East or South. I mean,
India
it
is like
is, of course,
India is
but
like its own continent as far as I'm concerned. Like the body of knowledge from India is like I enjoy reading. I enjoy reading the juxtaposition because they're serious about their education. Uh, so I studied some research when I interned in Taiwan for a few weeks. I was able to sit in on the research council and listen to the research paper I went over, or the research, not paper, but process I was allowed to sit in on was about um, birth control. And it was so interesting. We can talk about that at some point. that point of view, because you don't get it. Because society, you are influenced by your society. So in the West, um, there are biases imposed upon you by whoever's in charge, and their morals and ethics and their thoughts and their like, what do you call this, their filter. If something, you gotta, in order to do research in the US, you have to have it go through a research board. Someone has to approve your research, and someone has to fund your research. So if no one's interested because of their filter, if they think subconsciously that this has no value because that's not their value, then it doesn't get to the research part.
Mhm.
So you have to take research from many different cultures because there are different belief systems. I'm not saying one or the other is true. You have to, but you have to get pick from all kinds of places. This is why I would study traditional Chinese language. This is why I would study Sanskrit. Like, no one speaks Sanskrit anymore. No one speaks
Yeah.
Latin anymore, but I studied Latin, Sanskrit, um, and Chinese to get to the root and the culture of the root of what they're thinking. And I could see like their belief systems through the evolution of medicine. And I don't mean to leave out the Iran, but that Unani medicine came from came from Ayurveda. The Iranian medicine is wonderful, but I haven't studied Farsi or that language yet. So, but when I talk to people from Iran, um, it's different enough that I'm really interested, but I just don't have a teacher. You know, I don't have a proper teacher. Or maybe I'm female and they wouldn't accept me anyway. I don't know. But for some reason, I cannot access um, the Middle East, that medicine. I even got to access traditional Hawaiian medicine, like from the shamans of Hawaii. I was in college and I had a sociology paper that I had to, or a research paper I had to write. And I did it on the kahunas, which are like the shamans of Hawaii. And I got to interview one lady. She's probably passed away by now. She was quite old when when I interviewed her, but she demystified it for me. And so this medicine that I'm talking to you about, although we're talking about Ayurveda, we are talking about Ayurveda from a smaller world now. Like, it's so easy to access different parts of the world now. So from global experiences that you would never get 1,000 years ago. You couldn't hop on a plane. Technology has changed so much. You couldn't hop on a plane and go to like for wait where to Australia, right? Where the seasons are completely flipped on its head. It's going to be summer here, but it's getting ready to be winter there.
Right.
You couldn't do that back then. You couldn't jump on a Zoom call and get teachings from a doctor. Man, you had to travel. You had to be rich. You had to make provisions. You had to hire bodyguards. You had to
Wow.
collect food, right? Just to go to school. So for a like for a smaller world now, we have to critically think. What are the challenges we're facing today? What are the experiences that we're facing today, and can Ayurveda handle them? So far, so far, so good. If we include, we have to include everything, we have to include what are your options technologically, what are your options pharmaceutically, what, like in Taiwan, I'm just going to tease this, but in Taiwan, there's a place for birth control, but it's not for birth control. For them, the purpose of that medicine is to jumpstart your menstrual cycle back on track, and then they only use it for that, and then never again. It's deemed too risky, too too damaging to your health, that we would have to put so much effort reversing the damage, that the benefits and the benefits and the detriments are not justified in Taiwan, right? But they have a different point of view. So here we have, it's always social, there's always socio-economic, cultural factors that we can't just brush off. And I think that's the downfall of research, is that that is brushed off quite a bit in the medical research. Um, I personally don't think that the different sciences should be separate. If you get high enough, like especially at a doctorate level, if you get high enough in chemistry, you're now talking about physics, environmental science, economics. You're talking about cost benefit analysis, because you're trying to get some real answers for folks. You can't live, you can't leave out um, their culture. I mean, try to be a doctor. Try to tell folks, like I said, try to tell an old Japanese family not to have miso soup for breakfast. That's going to take you decades. If not, you're just going to kill your patient. So you got to figure out, you got to take the person into consideration. And I think that's never going to be outdated, is to have, I don't think AI can do it yet.
Mhm.
I don't think AI can do it yet. There's always going to be room for this sort of like holistic analysis. I'm convinced, even thus far, that the human experience is still superior. AI ass- assisted, but definitely not completely AI, because there's so much nuance, and it changes so fast. Like I was saying, like it changes so fast that you have to you have to acclimate to it, and the human being has to acclimate this. So let me break this down. I think it's getting like a little convoluted. Okay, so I'm making the case now that AI cannot take the place of a human doctor
Mhm.
when you're treating humans, and we wouldn't be treating AI. I would say we wouldn't be treating computers
Mhm.
necessarily. We can talk about that later. But when you're treating humans, humans take time to absorb and digest ideas. You ever talk to your AI and it assumed that you already understood what it was talking about,
Um,
like bit fat too fast?
I feel like, well, my thing with my chat GPT, I feel like it assumes that I'm asking things that I'm not, or it thinks
Mm-hmm.
too much, and I'm like, no, 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 let's get
Mm-hmm.
to the point. that's, I mean, thanks because I love random facts and I love extra information,
Hmm.
but where we were
Too
going
much.
with it. So
Yeah.
sometimes it does a little more than less.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also, it's that nuance. Like it's that it just misses that human connection. Like you can talk about facts all day, but just like you were saying, just knowing that cultural difference, like if you're talking to a Japanese person, you certain things are going to be more difficult for
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like it can understand cultural facts, but the nuance, like where it understands the theory, it doesn't understand the practice as much, and that um just the practicality of it, the feeling in it, because it
Yeah.
doesn't,
I love
they're like,
that
well, I
practicality.
think
Yeah.
that it's like this, and this is what I see people talking about and how I assume people feel. And I think I like that. Well, I know for mine, when I ask, like, just like I've seen people with the prompts about what's going on in the world and things like that. So I like that it plays things out in different perspectives. But again, just that, like, you can't, it's hard to put the soul into words, you
Mm.
know? Like that's what separates us from just, I mean, that's why it's artificial intelligence. Like facts are facts and knowledge is knowledge, but it's that, like I think of how I've seen this quote going a lot around a lot more lately, how we're not humans, or we're not, now I feel like I'm gonna mess it up, but
That's
we're
okay.
not like
We can
like
switch it around.
bodies with a soul, but we're like souls occupying a body,
We're not humans having a spiritual experience. We're a spirit
like
having a
spirits
human
having a
experience.
human
Hmm.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
So I
and
think
and there's a lot more memory than that can fit in AI. When you talk, and Ayurveda addresses this, and I love it because Ayurveda addresses this when we talk about the mind. When we did, like you already went through the first like intro to Ayurveda, right? And we get into the mind, and it's like I love the subject. I wish more people. I mean, I'm sure we'll attract more people when we can talk about Ayurveda and the mind. But when I get
Mhm.
there in the intro, I just try to. I just love it so much. I make sure I don't go too deep, and it brings me to my point about space. Human beings, real human beings, have a pause. And it's like we're talking to each other telepathically, and we are. We can see, feel that pause and know when to begin again. AI
Mhm.
cannot, that's the most irritating thing about AI for me, is that it'll just dump all this stuff out. Because I have mine on voice command, right? So I'm listening, and you can't like interrupt, or else you won't be able to hear the rest of it, and it won't pause. It can't see you
You do
or
need a pause
feel
button because then
you.
it just stops and cuts
Yeah,
off wherever it's at. It's like, what about
yeah,
the rest?
yeah. You can't just pause and like just iron out this little wrinkle and then continue.
Hmm.
Like humans are really good at that. Like you and I, we're not interrupting each other like rudely. It's a dance we play. Like you can see my face, and even if you couldn't see my face, you could hear it on the phone.
Hmm.
That.
You hear a breath before
Yeah,
somebody starts saying something, so you know
yeah,
to, okay, I'll wait and let them talk, or you feel the pauses. You're right. Yeah, we really connect, and that's again the difference between needing that human connection and AI. Like
yeah,
it's the feeling, it's an energy exchange for sure.
yeah. And there's not a time without that sentience, that that can happen. It could mimic it, it could fool you for a second, but then when it goes off and you're like, what? And you don't even sound like a crazy person. Like you don't sound like a person at all at some point. You know, there's a, it's just too like, I don't know if we can quantify this, but it's so off topic. Like what? But it doesn't have that questioning ability for itself. Like did you say this? Because that doesn't make sense. I think I heard that, but I'm sure I didn't hear that. You know, it'll just go off on the thing it thinks it heard as if it was a normal part, and it'll cover it up and it'll say, "Ah ha ha, that was very playful and fun. This must be your term for this, this, and this." Like, not humans would not do that. They would be like, "I'm sure I didn't hear that." And then you'd have to say it again because you would get from the other human that they were confused. But
Right, even like that tone and just
yeah.
nuance communicate in so many ways.
Hmm. Yep. So that was that
Okay.
was our little
Pop out.
huh.
A lot of water today.
Okay, go
Actually,
ahead, go ahead.
speaking of Gatorade, I did a little creation. I think I told you like we were talking about like the natural Gatorades and stuff.
Yeah.
So I had some seeds that I had soaked because I did like a little fruit bowl last night, and I put too much chia in there, and it had a little dragon fruit still.
Hmm.
And I did coconut water and regular or
Hmm.
alkaline water.
Mm.
Added electrolytes because like I don't know if you've seen like the people that do like their loaded waters. Everybody's been obsessed with that. Like
I think
people
maybe once or
make
twice.
different water flavors and sparkling waters and all that type of stuff. People add all types of crazy. They're adding syrups and still calling it water, and I'm like, that's a lot. But I was like, well, let me do my natural version. Do my loaded waters like my natural Gatorade.
Talk
So
talk about it.
started off the day with that, and
Clip
well,
it.
you see how big the jar is, and I have refilled
A quart,
it.
yeah. 32 ounces.
Great, but
Are we needing a
no,
potty break?
yes.
Okay. So let me
So if I
put,
disappear, that's probably
no, that's okay. I'll put be
the
right back
problem.
up because I gotta go too.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna mute our mics and then put be right
Intermission.
back. Perfect. Almost. I
Uh-oh.
almost got it. You're gonna hear my ice machine in a sec. Oh, sad. Not much in that can. Here we go. Yeah, I have been into sparkling waters these days, but since
Oh yeah.
it's not what do you call sponsored, maybe I should keep it off camera.
Is that a copyright infringement?
I don't know, so I'm just gonna keep it off camera. I'm just gonna say sparkling water.
Completely joking.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna be your
Yeah,
AI
I
now.
think
Haha.
that's probably why Marley is obsessed with sparkling water because
Why?
when I was drinking it like all the time.
Oh.
Like half my water intake was sparkling water. I like literally had to go get a soda stream because I was drinking so much sparkling water.
Hmm.
Those
Is
were
it
the best loaded water. Oh, I haven't done like sparkling loaded waters the same way I've been doing these, but
how much are
um
one of those things?
well, I think I got mine for like around $100. So
Is it
probably
worth
you can
the
probably
oh well, how much are the like little cartridges of the
I want to say it was like
what are the
$15.
consumables gonna cost?
Well, if you get the kit, it comes with the carbon dioxide and some of them will come with like a couple little flavors. Um,
Ooh, flavors.
they have the bubbly.
Yep.
Um, and so you get the CO2 that comes with it. And I mean, I got a good, even when I was using it a lot, I could get a good couple months use out of it. And then you can go like, well, when you take it, I know Target had a little exchange. I haven't done it in a while. I
Mm.
haven't been shopping at Target. But
Mm-hmm.
I know. Um, but I want to say no, I think they just recycled them. I don't think they gave you a discount with it. But you could take it back to the store. And I want to say it was around like 15 or so. 15, $16 after tax. But yeah,
Well,
I was replacing it like maybe once or twice in a year.
okay. Okay. And
But if you need anything,
for ta
it's
for
there.
taste, I think you could use probably essential oils, and I have tons of that.
Yeah, and I mean also just regular fruit.
Regular fruit, it goes. I have no idea. I've never used the machine like that before.
Yeah, you just do the water, like, carbonate the water and then add whatever it would add, like lemons or limes and just other little flavors. I had
Mm.
like a THC syrup, so I'd make my little
Wow.
sodas on my own.
The flavor I like right now is black cherry.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Was a good one.
maybe I don't want to. It seems like for right now, I financially it makes sense because I drink a lot of this stuff.
Hmm.
I probably recap. Here's my accountant. I probably recap my investment in like uh 5 months, probably.
Hmm.
But then it's labor.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a couple extra seconds. I don't know. It wasn't too bad.
I know. Okay, should we get on to winter?
Yes, that was this
Okay,
conversation.
that was great.
Yeah.
I could get. I mean, as long as you want to hang out, I can get used to this. Hmm, I can't see. I gotta look over here. Winter season, cold, dewy. I put winter season and cold, dewy together, so it covers 4 months. Is it getting cut off at the bottom? I think it might be getting cut off at the bottom. Oh, mm, there you go. vata eliminating diet in the winter, if you have those kinds of like painful stabbing, if you get pain from being cold and dry, then you want to have more sweet, sour, salty. And I love winter. First thing I have to say about winter is it is pastry season. And I'm
Mhm.
sorry you have a cough problem in the spring. But it's still the time where your agni, your digestion is strongest, naturally strongest. And if it's not, supplement with like some cumin, cardamom, fennel,
Mhm.
ajowain. I'm gonna just say so people get used to saying it. Ajowain, um, cardamom, cumin, coriander, fennel. Just
Mhm.
put some of those seeds in a tea, a warm tea, and it will help with your digestion if your digestion doesn't naturally get stronger at this time. Chew your food, make sure you digest all of your sweets, but this is the time to have them. When I was addicted to sweets, the first few years of Ayurveda, shoot, yeah, the first few years of Ayurveda, um, I would hate monsoon season because you can't eat anything. But now I just use each season to my advantage. So I fast more. I do autophagy. I clean out my system more in monsoon season, and I look
Mhm.
forward to winter. It doesn't bother me anymore. Like I'm what do you call depriving myself or anything. I think what makes you feel like you're depriving yourself is that um unbridled, like the our availability of being able to get everything all the time, which is not available in nature. So yeah, so eat like what's in season and learn to like love every season and what it offers, I think was a good strategy. But
Mhm.
that being said, most people are going to like winter because it is, like I said, pastry season. Eat less pungent, bitter, and astringent.
Mhm.
Let's see.
Definitely
Eat less
peace.
cold things if you suffer from that. That being said, we're going to talk about ice cream. Ice cream is fatty, it's difficult to digest, and because Agni is strongest in the winter, I actually think you should have your ice cream in the winter. But be careful of the cold nature.
Mhm.
It's not the best choice, but if you're gonna have, if you're like really like ice cream, winter's a good time. Be careful of popcorn. I know a lot of popcorn goes around for Christmas. Maybe I shouldn't say Christmas, for the holidays. I know a lot of popcorn is advertised during that time, but it's dry, and Vata is also dry. So I used to like the cheese one, which is dry, dry because it's powdered cheese on dry popcorn. Oh, but the
Mhm.
butter you have to use butter with popcorn. You have to use butter with potatoes. Potatoes are very drying. Mushrooms are very drying. You have to use oil with these things if you're going to eat them in the winter. My mom used to make Chex Mix. Does anyone remember Chex? Do you remember Chex Mix?
Mhm.
There's a lot
Did
of
you do
butter
like
in it.
these and
The what?
the Muddy Buddies, like the like flavored Chex Mix kind of?
We would put like this thing called furikake, which is a seaweed kind of sprinkle
Mhm.
on it. Do you know what I'm talking about? Seaweed and sesame seeds.
Yes, I've learned about furikake. That's probably been the
Have you?
greatest thing I've learned about
Yes. I
in the
love
last few years.
furikake is like,
Most,
oh my
uh,
gosh.
Japanese foods that I can add.
Yeah. I love it. We put it on our in Hawaii, we put like these, the rice crackers, the shoyu kind of like it's called arare. It's like those little, I'm gonna have to get you some. We put that in popcorn with the furikake, buttered popcorn, and it's called hurricane. So you can have like a hurricane mix in Hawaii. And that's, let's see, if Ayurvedically in the winter, Fulikake is kind of drying, but it's oily, it's good. And the arare is drying. Wow, Japanese people eat a lot
What
of
does
dry things.
what does seaweed fall under?
Moistening. But you sprinkle it on, when you sprinkle it on, it's dry. But it is yin
Right.
nourishing. It is like hydrating. But you're having it like a crunchy thing.
Hmm.
There's different kinds of seaweeds also. Cruciferous, anything that where the flower has a cross in it, that's where the word cruciferous comes from. There's a cross on the flower, like broccoli and cauliflower are cruciferous. The
Hmm.
flower of the cabbage, it has a cross on it. It's a cruciferous. It's vata aggravating. These things, I think it's in the flower. If you eat that part and you don't chew it and it goes into your system whole, it's so difficult to chew every single broccoli flower. So when it goes
Hmm.
into your system whole, it causes gas, and that gas can cause pain. So
That makes sense.
steam your broccoli, steam your cruciferous. Cabbage is also fairly gassy. Anything that causes gas like that. Coffee. Everyone's gonna hate that. Coffee in the winter is drying. So if you have vata problems, you want to like lighten up on the coffee. What we do correctly though is we have coffee with pastry. We balance it.
Mm-hmm.
Winter is is the time where we eat nuts and seeds because of the oil, but dried nuts and seeds, less so. We used to have something called a nutcracker, and it is where the ballet name comes from. Like the nutcrackers used to be fancy looking, but fresh nuts and seeds are really good at that time because it keeps its moisture.
Mm-hmm.
Beans are drying, so you have to have them either in a soup. You have to cook them very well. The part that makes you gassy in the bean is the little like germ part. So sometimes when the bean is shaped like this, like a little smile, in the middle there's this little like circle thing where the sprout comes out of. Usually where the sprout comes out of for anything is where it's most difficult to digest. Sprouts are very difficult to digest. They're very they don't want to die. They have a lot of life force, but it's hard to extract that from a sprout. You have to chew
Mm.
it very, very well, and it gives you gas if you can't digest it very well. Sun salutations. Agni gets strong in the winter. Winter is the time to tonify. Tonify means sugar. Tonify means oil. I can't see my slide. Abhyanga is applying oil, preferably warm. Oil warmer. What can we use for oil warmers in the bathroom? If you have space for it in the bathroom. Hmm. I think they sell candle oil warmers. Be careful of fire, of course, but they also crock pot, a small little crock pot. I can't hear you. Sorry.
I had a I can tell you that story another time when you said be careful fire, but
Oh,
I had a rough moment with fire last week.
oh,
Keep going, we'll talk
okay.
about it.
Oh, so Abhyanga is warming of the oil. Used to have a little crock pot about this big, a personal size one. Don't know what happened to it, but that would work if you start it as soon as you wake up, and then you brush your teeth, do your face things, um, change your clothes, take a shower, come back, not take a shower, but grab your clothes, or if you have a timer, like you put your coffee on a timer. You see,
Mhm.
this is just not in our culture, Abhyanga. So we're gonna have trouble integrating this into our life. We're gonna have to support each other on this kind of stuff. I will just typically, because it's hard to change habits. I have my oil in my bathroom and I just rub it like this, try to make it warm with my hands. It's not the same. When I deeply condition my hair, I do it in the kitchen and I do warm the oil before I put it on my head. But like you live with people, and if you're not used to like walking around naked in your house or whatever, you're gonna do it in the bathroom. So
Right.
and I was like, how am I supposed to do my Abhyanga and then do sun? When I was in Ayurveda school, I'm like, how am I supposed to do my Abhyanga and then do sun salutations like naked? My mom's not gonna. My mom's not gonna approve.
Oh,
And
that's funny.
in California, luckily, and in Vegas, luckily, but only the master bathroom has enough
Mhm.
space that I can put a yoga mat down.
Mhm.
In Hawaii, like it's about like 5 foot by 5 foot. The whole bathroom, no, no, it's pretty small. It's pretty
Mhm.
small. So bathing suit, I guess, in Kerala, India, near the tropics would work. Well, how are we supposed to do this? This is where I need like more viewers to help like figure this out. I'm sure if it was in my culture, I would find a way. My dad
Mhm.
worked at a hotel in Hawaii. He says the Indian folks, they all use oil because he has to clean it up after. And
Oh.
he was the plumber, and it would sort of stuff up the plumbing. Um, but they get it done. They get it done. It's a must, and I think I would love for this to be our culture. I do miss oiling myself every morning.
Mhm.
Just not in our it's not in our habit. I feel like it's taking up a lot of time, but when I do it in spurts from time to time, love it. I do that, then I take a warm shower. I love it. I stopped doing it because my shower started getting like oily, sticky, kind of oily, which my dad would complain about in the hotel. That when Indian folks did that, he's like, I always got to clean up this oil in the bath. But now I want to do it. I have the kind of floor on my bathroom, in my bathroom, that's kind of like non-slip. So the oil gets in there and like
Mhm.
I can't scrub it out easily. So I stopped doing it because of the of aversion to cleaning it up. So I need some solutions from folks. That's what this is about. Community is about. Whew. Yeah. So anyway, put your bone on bone oil on. That's something that we have upon waking after your personal hygiene and routine is attended to. After this, during this seasonal class, we also talk about like daily routines because that's a season also. It's considered a shorter season. 10 sun salutations. That number isn't the same for everyone. That's like just like the middle ground. So pitta people, 10 sun salutations with the sunrise facing east. There's more benefit to doing your sun salutation with the sunrise facing east than you may realize. It's not just that you are loosening up your joints. When you're facing east, you're getting the infrared, the extra stuff you pay for at the spa. You're getting that for free every morning, and it wakes you up. I don't know how else to explain this, but you may be groggy if you wake up early, but then when you get that morning light in your face, it's not staring directly at the sun. It's not going to hurt your eyes. It will actually help your eyes. There's a whole eye routine that we may go over at some point. But I think my eyes started getting worse. One when I did a lot of computer work
Mm.
recently, and then staying up late, and
Ooh,
then not because staying up late, not getting the morning sunrise.
this makes a lot of sense.
You too?
Why well, my eyes I have an astigmatism, so I mostly only really have to wear my glasses when I'm on the computer, when I'm driving, like, when I am really definitely sensitive to light and I'm nearsighted too, so but yeah, no, saying that though, because I'm a night owl and that's when I'm on my laptop the most, but I'm also typically wearing my glasses more then because I need it more. It's already dark, my eyes have to adjust to the light. So, but I've had a lot of people realize, like, when I say like people that I know, like I've been living here, it's been a year and a half now. I wore my glasses last week and I picked up a FaceTime. My cousin was kind of thrown off, but it was funny because we were both wearing our glasses. And then one of my other friends FaceTimed me randomly and I was doing work and he's like, "What are you doing with those on?" I was like, you've known me almost 20 years. Like in a couple of years, it'll be 20 years. I'm like, what do you mean you didn't know I wore glasses? The person that I see almost every day, and I realize like I just don't when I'm out and about, like if I don't need them, like I don't see people when I'm on my laptop because most of the time, like I said, I'm working at night or that's something I'm doing on my own and I'm not driving right now, so you know, there's that, but I was bad about wearing them even when I did drive.
Mm,
But that's interesting to know, like my sleep habits have probably only affected my vision even more than I realized.
yeah. And and now that you say that, the dark, I used to read like in low light conditions, and my mom used to
Hmm.
say you're gonna ruin your eyesight. And I
Oh, that is
never ruined my eyesight because I was young, right? But now when it's dark, it's harder to see. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I've been slowly correcting it by doing this, not just in the winter, but all year long. I Because I'm dog sitting, the pet that I'm sitting is used to eating at 6:30 in the morning,
mm,
right? So I try to wake up at 5:30 to feed him, and the sun's just coming up around that time here. So I've noticed my eyesight getting better. It
mm.
was getting a little blurry, but when I was tired, when I'm not tired, it's completely 2020. But when I am tired, I was like, even when I was tired, when I was younger, not this blurry. So blue blockers are good for nighttime, not all the time. Like sometimes when I'm looking at my screen, I wear blue blockers, but I've decided to stop wearing blue blockers during the day because I think that counts as like night vision.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, and I find that it helps, like waking up at the proper time. When we talk about daily routine and we talk about waking up at the proper time, oh, we're gonna get pushback. Our
Mm-hmm.
society is not not going to be down with that. We're going to have to find some sort of solution. I don't know what that's going to be. I try to skirt around nature's like rules, and I always lose. Like not always lose, but there are things we can do, and I don't know. There are some parts of nature that's so strong. I feel we can try to figure something out. Just don't know what. I just don't know what yet. Oh. So for now, the solution I know is to do this. Oh my gosh, that oil makes me feel grounded. And that feeling of in the morning when you have so many things that you want to do, um, that sort of like how the mind, how the mind goes from, okay, podcast, okay, like Twitch stream. I have to do some bookkeeping. I have to do something, an errand for my family. I have to What am I going to even eat today? Do I have to go to the supermarket? And then it gets overwhelming. You know that feeling in the morning. Do you know this feeling in the morning?
Mhm.
That what goes
Yeah.
away with the oiling.
Mm.
That goes away with the morning routine. I was like, and I started handling life. I did this during tax season or before tax season. And I was like, whoa, I like the stability. Nothing different is going on. I'm just not freaking out. Like even for
Mhm.
mental health, little by little, I hope that this Twitch stream that we have convinces people little by little, and we can see people like even if it's the struggle that you put into the chat. I want to see it all. Like no one's gonna. You don't have to pretend to be perfect. You know, we can all talk about our struggles and help each other through. But my experience has been when I do this, when I warm up the oil properly and do this before my shower and I do all the my morning routine, my day goes, I'm doing the same stuff, but it feels smoother.
Yes.
Mental
I
health,
feel don't.
huh?
Absolutely feel off. Like if I miss any one thing, like now that I know what I'm supposed to do and know what it's supposed to feel like, I understand what
Okay.
off feels like. I hope it's like I've recalibrated and knowing, just not that you're not all the way centered just feels different.
Yep. But you have to know what all the way centered feels like to miss it, right? So remove oil after exercise by washing with astringent decoctions. You can. I haven't tried it yet, but I have an idea what I would do. Because we're a coffee culture, maybe maybe coffee. You could get the oil off with coffee. Whatever floats your boat, like whatever antioxidants you want to put on your skin. Because what do they put? What do they put on the trifala? You know trifala? Do you know trifala? It's one of the
I haven't used
basic
that yet.
haritaki, bibitaki, amalaki. Amalaki is really good for the hair, so a lot of people use amalaki to rinse their hair.
Mm.
I just haven't wanted to do it, but I have amalaki. I could do it. I could I like science. Like my motivation is my motivation is for science, you know. Let me see what happens and then somehow after that I lose interest. After I know what will happen, I don't have interest anymore. But there are powders that I think we call it now dry shampoo in this.
Hmm.
Have you heard of that?
Hmm.
You can make your own out of like cocoa powder if you have darker hair or baking soda if you have lighter hair. Um, so my sister used to make me a cocoa powder one, and it smelled like chocolate. So I would ask her to make it for me all the time. Um, but I think I have her recipe somewhere. I could make it. I've done that. That astringent. It's not an astringent decoction. I've used powders on my head. There's another powder called kumkum. I think no. Rasna. There's an herb called rasna. So the word adi in Ayurveda just means and other stuff. So when we make a formula, we sometimes name the formula by the main ingredient. So rasna adi, um, the rasna's main thing that they would put on their head to in the winter to make sure that you don't catch a cold. So I guess it would go on your head. I've had it before. You can buy it probably online. Rasna adi churna. Churna just means powder. And you place it on the center of your head, and then that's it. You just tap it in like this, and it's over. And it's supposed to protect your immune system. I've got to research it a little bit more, but that was probably what they mean by powder. and soap and warm water. They don't have soap and warm water in Ayurveda, so this is something my teacher came up with. They would warm
Hmm.
up the water, and as they would explain it, most of it is kind of like country. They would put it in a big bowl, and the first thing that was important was that you warm up your feet. So they would take a shower actually from their feet to their head, which also is good for your hair because you should not wash your head with very hot water. Your
Oh.
head should be cool water. Yes, some people might lose their hair like that. Too much heat in the head. As we know, a pitta dosha, they get bald, right? We know a lot of men with a lot of testosterone and they get male pattern baldness. That's from all the pitta they have in their body. All that heat like burns off your hair. So
Mm.
if you should have cool head, warm feet. And so they would warm up the water and logically wash their bodies from the feet to the head in the order of which the water would cool off. And then apply scented perfume. So this is a case being made for the cocoa powder dry shampoo that my sister used to make. Uh, smells nice, you know. You can put whatever essential oil you want. Be careful, please understand that you shouldn't put it on straight. Some oils you will burn your scalp. But I say some safer ones are sandalwood, rose essential oil. You know, please be very careful because once it goes on, you can hardly get it off. I would say soap and water would be the closest thing. But once it soaks into your tissue, like orange oil, if it soaks into your tissue, you cannot get it out. It's going to burn all the way through, like an acid drip. I once put like on my white coat in the clinic, and I have like this is not my white coat. This is just a linen shirt. But I would wear, a long sleeve shirt under my white coat in clinic, and I like the smell of orange. And so I put one drop on my white coat, so because it smelled nice. So I, do that. It smelled nice. And an hour later, I was itchy. My arm was itchy. I was scratching it, and then I looked at it, and it was red, and it was burning. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is from the orange oil. So I had to take off my white coat, change my shirt, and
Oh, wow.
yeah, and I treated it like a burn. I put it under running water. I just kept it under running water for like 20 minutes. It eased it, but there was nothing I could do but let it run out. And thank goodness I only put one drop on my white coat. So be very careful with essential oils.
Now, do you get irritated by oranges, or was that just
No,
because of
I
like the
don't.
intent?
Or the
Okay.
orange peel is different than tangerine peel.
Mhm.
The orange peel, if people don't know, like the Chinese invented like gunpowder. They use it in gunpowder, which tells you
Mm,
how much pitta
interesting.
is in it, which tells you how much it can burn.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
that does also make sense too, because I've seen people that have, like, I saw like a thing where they made like a makeshift candle with like taking an orange peel
Heck yeah, you can
and
burn
putting
it.
oil in it, like using like the little I guess whatever you call that little white part, the
Pith
piece
as
that usually,
uh-huh as a
yeah,
wick.
but
Hmm.
like the piece that usually goes in the middle, if you keep it intact, it can act as a wick. So
Absolutely, I've done that.
yeah,
Makeshift birthday candle when we didn't have
not
any
just the
candles.
oil helping it burn.
Hmm.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
orange also contributes.
Hmm. Maybe we can burn one day just to show you. Tangerine is a bit more difficult to burn, you'll find. So
Mm.
now I know people that like compression blankets.
Weighted
Uh,
blankets?
Weighted blankets. Yeah. But it is recommended to have a lightweight blanket in the
Mhm.
winter. I don't know why. Thick,
I have gotten
lightweight
before.
blankets. Hmm?
Mhm. I have gotten a weighted blanket.
Yeah, I don't know why, but it's in the maybe we will see the logic of it at some point. That's kind of how I got my wisdom is by really being bothered by the why. Why? Why thick, lightweight blanket? I like them when I go to the hotel, like those down blankets. I like them a lot. I don't know. I don't know why. Um, anyway, here's your mask. Keep the head and face moist and warm. Um, yeah, COVID really helped me with this one. People had masks to wear. Before this, before that, I would nightcaps. People actually used to wear nightcaps. If you look
Mm.
at old stories of like old nursery rhymes or I don't know. Long ago, people used to it used to be like when you saw people going to bed in children's books, they would have like a hat and it was long like an elf hat. It's a nightcap
Mhm.
and it keeps the head warm. And then I would also put I would put a light, what's that part of the bed sheet that's like really thin and it doesn't tuck? Anyway, that bed sheet, I would put that over my whole face. I know it looks like I'm a dead person, but it's the perfect combination of keeping your head like warm and not having something heavy on you. And maybe that's what the
Mm.
thick blanket thing is about. But I'd use that over my head. And I love hotels because you can put that whole thing over. I would sleep completely in that blanket. Wear footwear all the time. Like I said, head cold, feet warm. It's a yin and yang balance. I know the reason for this. Cold air descends, hot air rises. So as cold descends and hot air rises, it makes movement. In this explanation, movement is life. Okay, so you get a current of coolness go down, you'll get some heat going up, and you'll get circulation. And circulation is fundamental to life. So that's what the yin yang symbol is kind of about, is this like change, that this movement of life. So we call like the top heaven and the bottom earth. And then the warmth from the earth should go up and the cool from the heavens should go down or the sky should go down. And then they create this current. And this is the yin yang symbol. I don't know if you can kind of
Mm.
imagine. And this is life.
Yeah.
So you don't ever want yin and yang to separate. That happens during death. So in order to keep us alive, you want the feet to be warm. You want to soak your feet in warmth and you want to keep your head cool. Footwear all the time. Huddling together is encouraged. So this is snuggle time by the fire. See all the
Oh.
friends with their feet all like ski trip. Exposure to fire and sunlight should be done appropriately. So like if it's like would you say -50 wind chill factor in Chicago?
Wait, you said
-50 wind chill factor in Chicago? Or was it
the
New York?
coldest? Yeah. Oh, wind fa yeah, the wind chill is definitely crazy, crazy, crazy in Chicago. Just with the extra the because I want to say I don't know if I forgot which lake I saw was actually the biggest, but obviously the Great Lakes really chill out the temperature.
Hmm.
But the coldest I've ever been through out there was -30. I
Oh,
can't remember what the
still
actual wind chill
okay.
was. I know it's actually, yeah, I know.
Is there really a difference between -30 and -50? I just want to know. Like, I've never been in that.
All I know is it was cold.
Do you
And
feel like it's warmer when it goes from -50 to -30?
do you feel the difference?
I don't know.
Probably,
I gotta ask a
probably,
Russian.
but honestly, cold is cold. So I can't even imagine what the actual wind chill would be. And it's funny, even I was texting my cousin the link and stuff too, so he's hopping in, but he might have not be listening.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, that was the coldest winter I'd ever been, and that was the only time I've ever been in that cold of weather. But I was around, I think I had just turned 10, and they had
Little
that cold.
Cherise.
Yeah,
Oh,
because we had gone out for my grandfather's funeral, but because it was a
mm.
really bad snowstorm, and the snow was still on the like it was piled up. I remember that because
Oh.
it was probably the most snow I've ever seen in my life.
Mm.
And we got to be outside and play. Why we were playing in the snow and like at night on top of like in the backyard. But I remember like the snow just like literally being like, I mean, obviously I'm sitting down, but like it was a couple feet of snow. I just
That sounds
um
great.
yeah, I mean it was fun being in the snow as a kid. I would hate it now. Absolutely hate it.
As
Like
a
no.
as a kid, right? When
'Cause
when you're healthiest.
right.
Now, what I'm going to say to you will make sense. You should feel comfortable in all kinds of weather. That's health. So you know these like yogis that you see in their underwear in the Himalayas meditating on a mountain? They're not children. But we have a saying to bring your health back to a childlike state. Go back to childhood in Tai Chi is a saying. You will know you're getting stronger when the weather, no matter what it is, isn't bothering you. Like when you're a child. You would hate it now, yes, but there can be a time where I want to encourage you. There can be a time where you like it again. Like strive for that. I do like wonder when I'm complaining about the weather, what's going on with me? Is it just I'm not acclimating, right? Am I not,
Mm,
or is something going on? Because you should be able to adjust to any circumstance as long as you give it
mhm.
some time.
Feel like
So,
your body adapts so much differently, and like you start, it's almost like you break out of that, or once you become more conscious of what your body needs, it's gonna let you know in any way possible. I mean, we've gotten so conditioned to like really ignore symptoms until they get extremely too far. But, and just to think of things as normal, like, you don't think anything of being bloated or being hot or,
yeah,
whatever
Ayurveda's
it
really
is.
changed that perspective for me. I do think about like, oh, I'm bloated, but I no longer freak out that I'm fat when I'm bloated.
Yeah.
That logic was really helpful because it all that confusion about like what you're eating and what's happening to your body, knowing like my phases, like my menstrual cycle phases, has been helpful. Knowing that I just ate the wrong combination of food yesterday is helpful. Knowing that this will pass when my body flushes it is helpful. All like that negative talk, like what am I doing wrong? All that confusion, all that. And then what do? You go extra hard at the gym and you get less rest when what you needed was rest.
Um, No, that's probably my biggest struggle, just in general, like pushing myself further than I need to, and then like that was just a bad idea because you just make it worse.
When I get into my training mode, the hardest thing to do is for me to take a day off.
Mm-hmm.
Like yesterday was what, Tuesday, today's Wednesday. So yesterday we streamed unseasonably, right? We don't normally stream on Tuesday, but we practiced for today. And so I went to the gym on Monday, knowing that Tuesday was going to be too busy and Wednesday is too busy because when I go to the gym, I like a good like 4 hours. So I get
Mhm.
there, relax, and then if I go heavy, I spend 3 minutes. I'd like to give myself 3 to 5 minutes between sets to fully recover.
Mm, mhm,
There's research on that, and it's more sustainable that way.
mhm.
But anyway, I like to give myself 4 hours to like the pre stuff, digestion, the workout, and then the post, you know. But anyway, so I worked out on Monday, and then Tuesday I knew I couldn't, and good because I would normally not. Thank you. What was that? Thank you. Hi, Irma. On Tuesday I knew I couldn't, so it was a forced rest day, which I'm grateful for. I could also intermittent fast because we were so busy that I just skipped breakfast and I didn't eat till like 5 p.m. or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like a good 19, 20 hour fast every once in a while for me is fine because
Right.
what my body did was it got rid of the bloat.
Mm, mhm.
'Cause I was bloated before that, and I won't say why, but I was bloated before that.
I get
And
it. We all have.
I went heavy, and so my if my muscles are a little sore, I'll still go lift, but I shouldn't. I know I should completely recover. So today's Wednesday. I'm going to be busy today too. And it's my second day in a row of rest. Hardest thing ever when I'm in workout mode. I see the gains and you get addicted to that. I see the numbers and you get addicted to that.
Mhm.
And so these Ayurvedically speaking, holistically speaking, I also build these Twitch streams and the my work that I do to fit my lifestyle. It's so holistic. Like, you know how when we talk, I'm like, I don't know if I can commit to that, or I can commit to that, or I'm also thinking like how it's going to fit into my overall lifestyle,
Mhm.
not just work. I think people think of work as just work sometimes, not you and I, but I know people think of work separate than lifestyle, separate than like their workout or their
Mhm.
exercise, their sleep. They don't factor in,
Everything.
yeah. And
But it
it's not
all flows.
yeah, but it's not easy. It's like we have this Twitch stream slash podcast style
Mm.
to share that like rhythm with people. So they think of it too, like, oh, maybe, yeah, maybe I won't stay up that late because maybe it'll help me. Maybe it'll help you to go to bed early if you work out. Don't go to sleep if you can't sleep and then think, oh, I'm going to sleep so I can work out tomorrow. Bite the bullet, work out, and you'll be dead tired. My eyes are like so hard to keep up. It's so hard to keep my eyes open, like
Yeah.
approaching 10 o'clock now.
Yeah. I'm instantly tired, but also for a number of reasons. So being tired is not the hard part. It's just like I said, just having like for me, it's having to adjust to having the gaps where I have to stop what I'm doing, like, an hour or two of my day is preparing my child for school and getting her there and then picking her up. But then I can't I like to convince myself like, oh, well, if I go get her now, I can finish XYZ. I can finish a smaller task once she gets home. And it's like, well, that's not always realistic because I'm stopping every 5 minutes or I need to, make dinner or keep her on her schedule, or then I'm in a zone and then I'm pushing her schedule back and then we mess up bedtime and it's just so many, everything's
Yep.
a domino. So
Yes. Yes.
It's like if I don't get it done before like 4 o'clock, it's like,
But you
who
accept
knows?
it sooner, right? Like, hey, Twitch, Irma. You accept what's not going to happen sooner. I mean, I do anyway. Like that's just not going to happen today.
Yeah, I'm doing better at giving myself grace. Like I am grateful, um, just that everything that I need is adapting to what flows best for me.
Yay.
Like I looked up and I looked up the other day and I was just like, I don't know if I had mentioned to you, but I did officially sign another client.
Yay.
I was like, this is perfect because, well, one, you guys are both very, like, it hasn't, nothing's clashed so far. So far, so good.
Mm,
But also, you know, what you both need are very different. And then it just flows just generally. Like so far, it's been just kind of getting in the groove of everything. Like we're on our second week of a like 7 week campaign that we're working on. But um yeah, it fits my life. It works. Like I can get my work done when I need to get done. I'm able to connect with you both. Like we're able to talk first thing in the morning, and he's on the East Coast, but he's up, but afternoons tend to be better to actually get in touch. Like so
mm,
by the time we're done, like I'm able to like hop on a call with him or, do whatever needs to be done. And
nice.
yeah, it flows. It works really well. Like I'm seeing, his habits, like, and also just the fact that like being aligned with people who are like on that same wavelength,
Hmm.
like doing what flows for them and understanding themselves as well is very helpful.
Oh
But yeah, so it's
yeah. Like
like I
that.
looked up and realized like I'm working and I've set my life up to where I can work as I need to, and I'm, very Capricorn to me, like I'm going to find a way to work no matter what.
Yep.
But it works well for me because I'm able to find that balance. I'm able to like, okay, well, I need to get out and take a walk, but I don't have to be tied to a desk or I don't have to be on somebody else's time all of the time.
Yep.
Um, I'm able to give myself exactly what I need during the day. I'm able to stop and do yoga for a little bit if that's what my body needs. If it's,
That's how
getting
I
off of
feel. Like
right.
with life is just flowing, when you take everything into consideration. If you Ayurveda kind of like when you learn Ayurveda, it's almost like giving you permission because it's the healthy thing to do when before you're kind of just guessing, you know.
Yeah.
So I like that. I like that you're my like partner in this because because you get that,
Mhm.
it's not going to be like it's not going to be a regular 9 to 5. It's going
Right.
to flow and it's going to I think it's a great example. It's a great like not just example but um like a what do you call like we're setting a we're giving people a framework. We're giving people something that they can duplicate. That
Mhm.
we're changing society. It can be like this, what
Right.
people want. Not that what they want, but what is healthy for them. Healthy,
Mhm.
there's this little question, I think, even probably subconsciously, or maybe even consciously in people's minds. It's like, yeah, I would love to live a healthy lifestyle, but I gotta pay bills.
Right.
You can
Good
do
with that,
both.
like it's like finding that's what I've been telling you, like without like throughout this journey, and like, even though I've started some time ago, and like I'm looking up and realizing like, wow, look at everything that I've done. Look how like the little changes have really like accumulated to a big lifestyle shift over time. And to me, like it doesn't even feel like I changed per se, but I've just like adapted and incorporated little by little better habits. So yeah, it's just like finding just things that make sense. Okay, I can't I'm not gonna throw out everything plastic that I have, but okay, maybe buying a case of mason jars doesn't make sense, but I'll save the jars from sauces and things that I'm already using
Hmm.
and add that to my collection until I do. It's just like, you know, for me, like dealing with like being on food stamps and finding herbs and
Hmm.
things that I can buy that are covered with that. Like what types of foods can I incorporate? Where can I shop for things with the great, like better deals? All of that.
Yep.
Like what
Yep.
can I get? Like that's why I've been buying the 5 pound bottles of honey from Costco. It's like, well, that makes more sense, and I can
Yeah.
get so many more uses out of honey rather than like, oh, well, let me budget for, a smaller bottle that's going to last me less time
I'm so
and
glad you said that.
for other uses. Like I've gone through so much honey because I made my little fire honey, but I've keep refilling it and I always have it available now because I'm reframing and thinking, you know, planning ahead and buying things in bulk is useful. So, you
Adding
know.
value to quality of life,
Mhm.
I think is going to going to be at odds at what people think they need. Like someone was like, well, not gonna name any names, but the value. I think we were just talking about the different way like women and men relate to value and how
Mhm.
well they're just yin and yang. Just it could be cut and dry. Like this is the amount of money, right? Which is easier to relate to because you can see it. But our quality of life, you and I, we don't have to make that much. Um, and I don't think we would want to sacrifice our quality to hit a 9 to 5.
Mhm.
We could get a 9 to 5, just don't want to sacrifice the quality of life. So you and I, what we're doing is we're putting more value on quality of life, which I'd like to help folks see because I really think they'd be happier.
Mhm. I mean, it's definitely anything's possible. Oh, and speaking of which, that was another thing I was thinking of. I can't remember what was the thing that sparked it for me, but I had a thought and posted on Threads. But one reason why because everybody's been so like, why do you live in LA and it's so expensive? And over the past like couple years, I've had so many people like kind of like, well, why don't you move and why don't you live somewhere more affordable? But it hit me like last week. I was thinking about, I forgot exactly what it was, but just the resources that are available. Like, okay, I might not be able to, you know, I don't have to pay for class pass, but there's free yoga classes at Runyon. There's free yoga
Hmm.
classes in Long Beach. There are free like opportunities for like all types of things. Like I can go whatever latest movie is out, some studio is doing screenings for it. So
Right?
I can enjoy things that, where the prices are going up and the way this economy is going, you got to finding a good deal is very beneficial, especially right now. But I mean, that's just always the type of person that I've been like, you know, I mean, that's definitely a thing that my mom really showed me that there's always, and my aunt too, like, she was a stay-at-home mom until like she just went back and got her PhD within the last 10 years. So, but by then, like half her kids were out of school.
Hmm.
So, you know, she found a way to be at home with them and put them on private school. So there's ways, there are programs, there's resources available. Definitely more so being in a bigger city. I mean, that's an advantage of
Hmm.
being in LA where it's expensive as hell. It's
Yeah, in a
expensive to
city.
live here,
Yeah,
but
that's
the
true.
benefits of the just the value of the things and opportunities that you have and the resources.
Absolutely. A democratic state will
Mhm.
have more social. support than a Republican state. That's one of the things. Like
Right.
that's one of the things you're looking at. Um, and that's why I think to myself, like, we're such a first world country. Like, it's in a good way.
Mhm.
We don't have to, we have the opportunity, the freedom to actually reframe how we want to live our lives. And if we can help other folks reframe that, the culture will shift. The culture it does shift. I've seen it shift with all that the yoga being more popular, people
Mhm.
paying attention to holistic health. I was not I was not popular decades ago, uh, but I see more people being interested. I see more people engaging.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's good. We should just continue. I think it's just going to expand the more and more.
Definitely. Yeah, even to what when we were I don't was that yesterday we were talking about that? Well, I think you might have touched on it yesterday, but you've touched on it plenty of times before how you were talking about um you don't have as many Asian clients because it's also like been a part of their culture and things that they learned about growing up,
Hmm.
but you've got more, Black women. I
Hmm.
think, also talking about the shifts in the economy and all of that, like, um, one thing after Kamala losing, I hate putting it like that, but um, there well, Black people in general have been very I've been seeing a shift of mindfulness um since the election. um because well, a lot of people, Black people in general, but especially Black women, have been realizing how much we have fought for others and how we're always stepping up to be the solution to a problem we didn't cause and things like that. But a lot of people are really getting into people are calling it like the soft girl era.
Mm.
um, but just prioritizing wellness and health and resting has been a big theme for the year for a lot of people. So yeah, I think you'll definitely continue to see that increase and the more people are made aware of Ayurveda and how practical it is. I think
Hmm.
understanding like accessibility, um, you know, that it's not necessarily about we've been on such people have been such on such an aesthetic wave
Yeah.
this last few years. I think especially with COVID, like people being home and getting their stimulus checks and things like that, and TikTok shop taking off. Like TikTok is like the modern
I missed
what
that.
is that, home
Modern
shopping
home
network.
shopping network. Okay.
Everybody has this idea that you have to buy more and reorganize your life and all of those things, but maybe it's not about, well, not maybe, but it's not about that. I think it's about letting people know that it's about making better choices at the grocery store, parking your car a few blocks to walk a little further, to move your body more, like understanding sun salutations and fitting that into your daily routine, and drinking tea more and what teas are beneficial for what seasons and what herbs, all the things that we're talking about. That
Yeah.
is,
And I don't necessarily think it has to be new for people to want to tune in because people need repetition and they need support when they're making
mm,
changes. I think people take for granted how difficult changing a routine is. The the
mhm,
most success I've had changing a routine is when the person before you who was going for this position, we would just stay on the phone. We would call each other. We used to play video games together, and we just stay on the
mhm,
phone and just softly, like how you and I do it, like just softly say, hey, how was your morning? Have you done your routine yet? And I would say, oh, I'm on my meditation part or I'm on my oiling part. And that was the most success I've ever had during the daily routine. So now that we're not like um trying to get into a daily routine again, that we've stopped like talking in the morning, I've fallen off. It took a while for me to fall off, but I've fallen off again. I'm
Mhm.
hoping these like Twitch streams will help me get encouraged to go again. Like I don't think
Mhm.
you ever fail permanently. I do think that there's always a try again. There always is because it starts to become a habit. It's more familiar next time.
Right, right.
But I'm gonna just keep trying, even if currently I'm not doing it. That doesn't mean it's left like my desire.
Mhm.
All right, I think that's probably a good place to wrap up.
Sure, yeah. We did
Yeah,
almost 3 hours.
it has, unless you have something, you're saving.
No, I think that was a good conversation.
Hmm. So again, we stream every Wednesday, 9 a.m. Pacific time for a few hours, talking about holistic health, encouraging each other, Ayurveda, Eastern medicine, not East, should I just say holistic medicine? Because I do take into account everything that is available to you, including pharmaceuticals. Um, I think if everything is used properly, it can be beneficial to you. So this is what should I sign off be?
Let me clip that before we go too far.
Yeah.
What what people Oh, also, well, sorry, I'm like maybe I saved this for after we cut off the Twitch,
Okay.
but I can always video. I did add a few in the doc.